Hello my gorgeous little spooky babes out there, and welcome. In today's video I'm going to share with you guys the scariest thing that has ever happened to me, as well as do a palette bingo with some of my Halloween palettes that are in my collection. I thought this would be a perfect video to do since it's Halloween when you guys are seeing this. So happy Halloween to all of you that do celebrate, and if you don't celebrate Halloween, I still hope you are having a wonderful day regardless. But before we get into this video, if you're new here, hello, welcome. My name is Bree and I'm just a crazy lover of all things beauty, and I like to post a lot of fun and colorful makeup content. I like to do a lot of indie makeup, so if that is what you're into, then please hit that subscribe button and join this little family. But with that being said, let's get into this video. Okay, so let's get into this story time as well as palette bingo. I'm going to start picking the shades. I have 4 palettes that I pulled today to use. I have the Moonspell Volume 2 palette from Lunar Beauty, the Haunted Europe palette from Nomad, the Hauntingly Glamorous palette from Unearthly, and the Gnome Chrome Halloween palette from Sugar Drizzle. I'm going to use random.org to get the shades all together, so it can be as random as possible. So we'll start off with the Moonspell Volume 2 palette that has 20 shades in it, and I'll just show you guys my screen. I'll do the bootleg version, and I'm just gonna go from like 1 in this way with the numbers. So 1 through 20. Let's see if it generates something good. We got number 9. Number 9 in here is this one, Jillian right here. So it's a very warm pinky purple, and I'll just swatch it all out here so we can just see the color story that I'm gonna have to work with today. Beautiful. Let's generate one more. Number 16, that would be this one, Maggie. This is also a pretty shade. It's like a deeper purpley warm tone shade. Okay, these are 2 really good shades that are going to work well together. Now let's get into the Nomad Haunted Europe palette. This one has 18 shades, so let me fix the random.org thing. And then we'll hit generate again. And we got 10. And number 10 in here is this one right here called Big Bad Wolf, which is a very cool tone gray dark shade. That's a pretty metallic. I love these kind of metallics. Then let's generate one more. Let's see what we're gonna get. We got number 13. And number 13 in this one is called The Catacombs, which is another gray deep metallic. Okay, the look is probably gonna be quite smoky for this one. Wow, these are kind of similar, right? I think this one just has more of a blue tone to it. And now let's get into the Hauntingly Glamorous palette that has 12 shades in it. So let me update the random.org generator and then hit generate. We got number 1. Number 1 in this is this pinky light shade, which makes such a beautiful inner corner highlight. Okay, we got that. And then let's do one more. We've got number 6, and number 6 in here is this really bright green. Okay, the look is starting to get kind of interesting with this green. It's gonna look like so random out of all these like cool tone shades. And then the last palette, which is the Gnome Chrome Halloween palette, has 12 shades too. So I'll hit generate. We've got number 11. So number 11 in here is Squad Gnomes. And we'll put it here. This one's definitely more like a satin shade. And then the last shade in the whole roundup is number 10, which is this one, Creeping It Real. That's a funny name. This is like a pink dual chrome that I think has like a green shift. So this is all the shades that I'm working with. This is very interesting, but I'll figure it out. I'll make it work, right? So now let's get into the look, okay? And the scary story now that we have the color story and that I'm working with. I'm going to go in with the MAC Painterly Paint Pot all over the lids as my eye primer. So I'm going to start off with the shade called Maggie in the Moonspell Volume 2 palette. That is the deepest matte that I got in my lineup here. Happy that I did get mattes because I need something to work with here. I'm just going to use that as like the deep nude shade, basically. So I'm just going to focus that out here. Anyway, so let's get into this scary story, which happened both to me and Casey. So I have someone who could validate that this actually happened, which I wish he was here, because that would actually help out, having him be like, yes, that actually happened. And it was when we went on this trip to get away for a little bit. It was back in 2020, I think, when the whole quarantine was happening. And we just wanted to get away for a little bit. So we booked this cabin out in Oklahoma that was by this lake. It had a beautiful view. We're like, yes, we just want to get out of the house because we're going crazy. I'm going into the Gillian shade now. And we were like, yes, we are going to take this little road trip. We don't have to get on a flight or anything. We don't have to be around people. And we can just like take our time, but still, you know, just get away for a bit. So when we got to this cabin, kid you guys not, it was like up in this hill, and right across from the cabin was this creepy looking shed. I'm telling you guys, it was all like decaying, falling apart, and it had like windows with like these really tattered curtains on them. It was like the property next to us that had this creepy ass shed, and I'm like, what the hell? And it was facing right to us, like the windows. I was like, that's creepy, right? Like it just looks like right out of a scary movie. And you guys might think my experience is totally crazy, unbelievable, but this is totally true what happened to me. It could just be a coincidence. It could be all in my head. It could actually be something unexplainable. Who knows, right? Because does anybody have the answers to what's going on in this world? So now I need to get into maybe this green. Maybe we can pop the green in the front. And we were like getting settled. We're like, whatever, creepy shed. We're gonna ignore that. We, you know, go look around the town. We go get some food, just see what's the option, because we got there kind of like late afternoon. So we didn't want to be out too long, because where the cabin was, it's really dark. Like there's no street lights. So we didn't want to like struggle trying to figure out how to get back. So we got back, we chilled for the night, unpacked, settled in, took a shower, and just enjoyed the, you know, being out of our house. And we're just chilling, right? And next thing you know, it was like getting kind of late. Maybe it was like 10 or 11, and we were still up just doing stuff on our phone. And we start hearing like footsteps outside of the cabin. And there was this porch or like balcony that wraps around the house from the side into the front, where you can like see the lake view. And it just sounded like someone was walking on it, like footsteps, and the boards were creaking. So like there's probably an animal out there. So let's just see if there's something out there. So we turn on all the lights. We're looking through the windows. We see absolutely nothing that could make that noise. And we're like, maybe it's just the house settling. But the thing is, it was just so loud and it was repetitive. You know how like houses creak and groan, but it's not like constant. It was like constant like footsteps, boom, 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 to the point where Casey was like, I'm gonna look outside. Like, I don't know what the hell is going on, if someone's creeping around the property. But he found nothing, flashlight, everything. But even after that, like once we were just laying there, the noises continued. It was so creepy. I'm telling you guys, this really happened. And we just try to ignore it. We can't explain it. And we just, like, we're going to go to sleep. And so we just, like, stayed up until we couldn't sleep. You know, we stayed up until we finally fell asleep. But now I'm going to go into, I guess, this shade right here called Catacombs and the Nomad palette. And I ended up falling asleep. I don't know when Casey fell asleep. I'm pretty sure I fell asleep before him. But I ended up having like this super weird dream. And in the dream, I was in the cabin and there was all these animals in the cabin, like koalas, monkeys, and stuff. And I was like, oh, that's strange that there's koalas in here. Like in my dream, I knew this shouldn't be like this. And then I come around the corner and I see my cat. She's looking all cute, curled up in a ball. And I guess in my dream, I looked at the cat that was there and I was like, you are not my cat. I know you're trying to persuade me to think you're my cat, but you're not, because there's no way she could be here. we're out of town. We left her with the pet sitter. So if this is her, it's because it's a ghost cat, or this is something trying to portray as a cat. Like I said that in my dream, which is so weird. And as soon as like I said that to the thing that looked like my cat, I woke up out of my sleep. And when I woke up, I was in sleep paralysis. And if you've ever experienced that, that is spooky to experience. I'm going into the other shade, by the way. That looks very similar to the first shade I just put on. And I was so freaked out and I could not move. And I felt like something was holding me down. And I know like doctors and stuff say that it's just when you wake up in a certain sleep cycle and your brain is unable to like communicate to your like muscles and everything for you to be able to move. So you're basically in a paralysis state. So I was like, oh God, I cannot move. I can hear like the steps still going on outside. I look over to Casey and I can like kind of look at Casey because my eyes were open, but I couldn't move my body at all. And I was so afraid. Like I woke up scared and I was like, why do I feel fear? So I started to pray. Like that was the only thing I could think of, was to just pray. Like that was the first thing that came to my mind. So I kept praying over and over and over until that feeling went away. And it finally did. By the way, I'm going into the Sugar Drizzle palette now, into gnome or squad gnomes, and using that in the front. And the more I prayed, eventually that feeling went away, that like heaviness on my body. And I was able to finally move, and I just sat up and like gasped. And even with all that commotion and noise that I made, Casey did not wake up at all. Like he was unfazed by my movement and sitting up suddenly, which is surprising because he's a really light sleeper. And I was just so afraid to go back to sleep because I was afraid that I was going to go back into that paralysis state. So I pretty much stayed up most of the night, and I think eventually I fell asleep. I don't even remember falling asleep. Anyway, so let me get into another shade. I'm going to go into Creeping It Real and use that in the inner portion. I'll do my lower lash line in a bit. And after Casey like eventually got up, and I was telling him what happened to me the night before, and he tells me the craziest thing, okay? He told me that he also woke up in sleep paralysis that night. And he also had a dream that he was in the cabin and there were animals in here, and he knew it was off that there was animals. He said, I also had like koalas and monkeys in my dream. And he said, I went and looked outside, like I had the door open, and there was all these like animals everywhere. And this big bunny came jumping up to him. And he said the bunny was huge and really creepy looking. And it had this like weird like little smirk on its face. And he just said he pet the bunny. He's like, okay, hi bunny. And he said right when he did that, he woke up suddenly and he was in paralysis state and could not move. And he told me he also felt like something was trying to hold him down in the dream. How is that crazy? He said he could open his eyes, he could see me, and I was unfazed, like I was sleeping, unbothered by anything. And he said he was trying to move and he couldn't, and he started to pray in his head as well because he was afraid. And the more he prayed and he kept saying, get off me, like something was on him, that he finally was able to move. And he said he sat up suddenly and like gasped for air. And he said I did not move. I was like totally unfazed by his movement. By the way, I'm going to go in back with the mattes from the Lunar Beauty palette to do the lower lash line. I'm just going to match up what's in the crease. And he was so afraid. He said he couldn't sleep until he eventually fell asleep. So he had the same experience as I did that night. Like how coincidental is that? Is that even a word? I don't know. But how did we have the exact same experience the same night, have a similar dream, and wake up the same way? And I just think that's what's the most craziest about it. And I honestly can't explain it, guys. I cannot explain how that happened. But we were like, maybe we're just tripping, we're scared, we're creeped out. Maybe we let the whole cabin thing creep us out, or the shed thing spook us and get into our head. But it just still didn't explain how our experiences were so alike. and all that. But we're like, let's just make the best of it because we had another night there and we wanted to enjoy ourselves. So we're like, let's just put this in the back of our head. Maybe it was just a crazy coincidence. That's it. So we went about our business, went to the lake, tried to make the best of it. And honestly, I wish that we decided to leave. We probably should have just left if we had a bad feeling. But we were trying to be like, whatever, we're fine. It's us being silly in our head. I'm going back into the green mat down here too. And we go back, we're fine. The place was fine during the day. It just was creepy at night. And then we finally, you know, get back to the house. We're going to chill for the night. And yet again, like the spooky like steps happening in the house. But this time we started hearing it on the roof. So it wasn't just around us, it was happening above us this time. I'm telling you, it sounded like someone was on the roof, stomping around and just like hitting the roof. And we're like, what the fuck, you know, like, sorry for swearing. And we're looking out, we're so freaked out. Casey runs out, he looks out the house, all the lights are on, flashlights, we don't see anything. And all I could do was like pray to myself because I just was so scared. And we stayed up all night until like finally light started coming out. We packed all our bags and we left. We had like a later checkout till like 11, but we left I think at like 5:30 or 6 in the morning. Like we were done. We didn't want any more of it. We were so creeped out from that experience. So you guys have to tell me, do I sound like a nutso with that story? Or does that freak you out like it freaks me out? Like still to this day when I think about it, I get chills from that experience. By the way, we need to go into one more shade and I honestly don't know what to do with it. I think I'm just gonna put some on the bottom, maybe. This is a more dry shade, or should I tap it on something? No, I'm just gonna use it down here. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with it, but maybe I should wet the brush so it can go on better. But that was the story, guys. I don't know what you think of that, if I'm just sounding like a nutso, or you're like, whoa, that's insane. But that is what happened to me and Casey. And we don't know what we experienced or if we were just both going crazy together, because maybe that was the case. Maybe we're just both nuts. But anyways, so that was what happened. And here is the makeup look, which my store ended right when the makeup look was done. I think this actually came out really cool. I'm not gonna lie, this looks cool and like the little pop of green in the front. And I do feel like it has straight up Halloween vibes. Okay, you know what? Makeup gods were pretty decent to me. It wasn't that bad. I was like a little worried about where I was gonna put everything. I'm just kind of like tapping over everything. I'm gonna probably work on the blend a little bit off camera. So let me just go off camera. I'm gonna do some liner, mascara, figure out something for my lips, and then I will be right back to show you guys how my look came out and finish up this video. Okay guys, so here's the finished look. I'll show you guys up close how it came out. This was actually a really good palette bingo. It came out to be a purpley look with a pop of green. It's giving me a little bit of Beetlejuice vibes. And I'm surprised as I was a little worried because these are not the normal shades I would pick to pair together. But that's what I love about palette bingo. It helps you be a little bit more creative and try different combinations that you would never have thought to do like on your own, or at least I wouldn't have thought to pair these together. But I'm very happy that I was able to create such a beautiful look. But all I did off camera to finish off the look was went in with the KVD Lippy and Sanctuary. I used this Dragon liner. I'm not sure what brand this is. It's like a random liner that was in my collection. I used the Beauty For Real High Def Mascara, and then I used the LA Girl Shockwave liner in Gotcha because I wanted to have a pop of green down here to match the inner corner, and that's all I did to finish off the look. But I had so much fun doing this palette bingo and sharing my like scary story experience with you guys. Now, you might totally think I was crazy, that this is totally made up, but this is what happened to me, and it's the spookiest craziest thing that's ever happened to me. And it's even crazier to know that someone else was there to experience it with me. Like, it was not just me, because if it was just me, I could explain it away. I'm like, oh, I'm tripping out, I'm making things up, I'm being dramatic. But to have someone be like, no, this happened, I had the same kind of dream, I had paralysis the same night as you, makes it so much more real and kind of like validates the story. But you guys will have to let me know your thoughts in the comments below about this experience. What do you think? Or if you want, share a scary story of your own. I would love to read them. I am a big scary story fan. I listen to them all the time on YouTube. That's like the other side of YouTube that I like to go into. Also, if you guys are new here and you enjoyed this video, you like a lot of fun, colorful makeup content, you like a lot of indie makeup, then please hit that subscribe button and join this little family. Also, don't forget to check out the description below. I will link all the makeup that I used here today in case you're curious and want to look at them yourself. I will also link other videos of mine you might be interested in watching, as well as my contact and my social media platforms. I'm also on Instagram as Breezy Lifestyle and Breezy_beauty, and I do post a lot of different content there as well. So if you want to join my Instagram fam, I would really, really love that. But guys, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video, for being here, for spending some time out of your day to hang out with me. I really appreciate it. If you do celebrate Halloween, I hope you have an amazing one. And if you don't, I still hope you have an amazing day. And I just hope you guys are doing well wherever you are in the world. And I'm just sending you all so much light and love. But until next time, bye guys.